So it's 6 a.m. It is Monday, March 30th. I'm out walking. Go for a walk. You won't probably see much of my face because the sun is not up yet. But I don't know. One of my favorite things to do might sound strange. I sound like some sort of serial killer or something, but I love walking in the dark. Um, you know, just like I like places where kind of nobody's around and just the ambient sound, things like that. So here I am. It's 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just going for a little walk, trying to get out of the house a little bit. I like to record these things outside, and so my thought today centers around economics, the the state that we're in with this novel coronavirus. It reminds me a bit of 9/11, um, in the sense that it's a thing that is kind of all-consuming. I've been sitting and reading all of these things, and consuming all of the news and reaction and all that stuff. And so, and one of the things with that that comes with a situation like this is the the landscape changes a little bit, and I found myself wondering, like, I've mentioned this in a couple other videos, like, what's the byproduct of all this? And I have to wonder, what are the new jobs that come out of this? What are the situations that are created that the world is different because of our experience here? What sort of things happen? Like, I know, back to 9/11, if you lived in the world before 9/11 and understand what it was like, you know that things were changed kind of permanently, like when it comes to air travel. When you're going to get on a plane, and you've got to go through an airport, like, that experience is wholly different than it was before. There are a lot of government jobs that exist in the way that they do that are different. I've been watching The Wire, which, by the way, if you need a binge, older show from the early 2000s, and it's about Baltimore and and the goings on with the police and the war on drugs and all of that stuff. There's this underlying tone of, like, how policing and the FBI and government agencies changed because of 9/11. And so we could have a similar effect with that kind of phenomenon here in this country, particularly because other countries are dealing with this differently, particularly in Asia, where they've had a SARS outbreak before and have a better understanding of what we're getting into. So I find myself wondering, what are the startups that are going to be born from this? Who's going to serve a need? What sort of businesses? Who's going to come out on top in all this? I mean, certainly the rich get richer a bit. Amazon, they're still open for business. They can't even keep up. They're actually, I saw that Jeff Bezos, who has been a soundbite a few times, or at least a headline, and he's basically like, hey, like, if you got laid off, come work for Amazon. It had occurred to me that we're just a little bit behind the autonomous vehicle reality, where if we had autonomous vehicles, a fleet ready to go, then we would have seen a different response. You might have seen business as usual from a company like Amazon, who would really love their fleet to go driverless. They'd love to go all robotic, and it'd just be a boom situation. And so, I wonder if we'll see that if this thing goes on, 12 months, 18 months. Some predictions have us, going a long time on this. Are we going to see a rush to more automation? A lot of people I know are morning. Another fellow in the dark jogger. I'm not jogging. I'm far too fat for that. But no, I wonder if there'll be a push. And I wonder, how many of us that left an office to go and work remotely might not go back. How many of these companies might say, you know what, we sent everybody away from the office, they still did their job, and so stay there, stay at home, we save rent money. I wonder what this will do to the real estate markets. I wondered. I was up in North Carolina, and man, Beach Mountain, North Carolina is beautiful. It's quite magnificent. I love that place. Been there. I've stayed there twice, and I will certainly stay there again. And I was like, I wonder if this whole thing will create a cheap real estate situation. I might be interested in buying a vacation rental and trying to make a few bucks off of vacation rentals, which I've been battled with. I've been burned on a rental property before, but it's tempting. And I'm just stupid enough to make the same mistake twice, so, who knows. And so, I wonder if a lot of this commercial real estate will end up going vacant. A lot of places, one of my favorite places to eat down the road, Chewy's. Chewy's in Waterford almost immediately said, we're closing our doors on that restaurant. We've got to contract to make sure that we're viable. We're closing a bunch of stores. The Waffle House. I mean, who knew? The Waffle House. So, it's funny because I read some stupid meme at some point where somebody goes, when the Waffle House closes, things are going bad, because they're always open. Well, they almost immediately closed 365 stores. So there's a year's worth of Waffle Houses about the country that you won't be able to frequent. And so nobody's immune in this. And on a serious note, I know that many of you are probably dealing with a lot of uncertainty with your job, and whether or not you're gonna have a paycheck, and how that's gonna go, and did the business that sent you home do it for the last time? Are they viable? What percentage? I read something that about 50% of all businesses said they can't make it 30 days without any revenue, without doing business as usual. So, there's going to be this interesting shift. There's going to be a big void to be filled, because even now, we had to shut down, essentially many businesses have shut down for a week or two, depending on where they are and what they did and how they went about it. I know a lot of the restaurants around me are still, they're still doing carry out, but certainly they can't be doing the same numbers. They're not doing, 2 weekend dinner services, turn that restaurant around 2 or 3 times, So, it's tough. And some of those places that you think, some of that stuff you thought, like, that's my thing, it's not going to make it. It's not going to be around. And at the same time, like I said, back to Amazon, others will learn to fill that void. Will this be a rich get richer situation? Well, it always is. I mean, there are going to be some well-leveraged, well-positioned companies that absorb a bunch of market share, because we'll get back to business as usual in some way, shape, or form. There'll be a quote unquote new normal at some point, but those of us that are lucky enough to have jobs, get jobs, make new jobs, we'll go on spending our money and doing our things and consuming, and what will be left for us to consume. Maybe there's some good in that. Maybe there's, I always hope there's a positive byproduct of things. Wherever there's uncertainty, there's a chance for optimism, and so I'll choose to be a little bit optimistic here and say, hopefully some of the stuff that we don't need will go away, and some of the stuff that's well, GameStop. By all accounts, GameStop. And I've kind of known a few people that have worked for that company and whatever. Yeah, they're not doing it right. They shouldn't be around at this point anyway. But they're hanging on, and they're really treating their workers like crap. And they're kind of a company that's dead. They just don't know it yet. They sell a product that nobody needs to go to them to buy. And so they beat on these, people who shamefully, the people that want to work at GameStop have a certain love for that sort of genre and realm. I think that, there's many places you could go to get a job that doesn't pay that well. You go to GameStop because you're into the whole gaming, what do I call it, environment, the culture a little bit, I don't know, maybe being into gaming culture is a little bit of a strong statement, but I don't know, you like gamers, you wanna interact a little bit, and you gotta have a job anyway, so, but, they sell a product that is largely available online. They're probably being undercut pretty badly right now by PlayStation and Microsoft and all of these places that are like, hey, you know what? People are sitting at home. Let's discount games and go have fun. And so GameStop is buried. It's a stupid idea anyway at this point. So morning. So and then they want to go ahead and treat these people like crap. So yeah, that's what you get. So we'll see all those GameStop locations close, and we'll all find another way to consume that. I don't know if I've been in a GameStop. I don't play a lot of games, but I haven't been in a GameStop for any real purpose other than wasting time while my wife wanders around the mall. I haven't really bought anything there in probably a decade, so I guess that's me. So I don't know. We'll trim some of the fat, and we'll lose some good stuff too. I'm afraid that the restaurants in my neighborhood will go away, particularly the ones I want to stay. There's some I could do without, but man, some places. So I am fearful. Go support your local businesses. If you want them to stay alive, you really gotta show them a bit of love, and hopefully their landlords will show them a bit of love, but landlords are in it too. If I can't get if I own a building and I can't get my rent for a couple months, that might eat up the margin that I have, and I'm done. I may be in the rears to the bank, and that's a place who will we'll see how this falls out for them. You got a bunch of people that default on their properties. What will their revenues look like? What sort of situation will they be in when they have a inordinate amount of people defaulting on loans or missing payments? Will they be forgiving? And that's a big question right now before Congress and all. How do we navigate this situation economically? Are we going to end up, having a 20-year backslide, economically speaking, because of all the losses? So, but not to be too doom and gloom. Somebody's going to come up with the next $1 billion idea out of this. It'll be born out of ingenuity and necessity, and you know, my optimism says that something great could come of this, and you know, who knows? Maybe somebody will figure out a way to slay Amazon in all of this, and we'll have a new mega company come out of this. Eh, that ain't so bad. But you know, we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. You know, I'm in my optimistic tone. I'm looking at this through a pessimistic lens that, you know, this is going to go on for a while, and it's going to have impacts. You know, beyond just, you know, however it impacts you and your world immediately. There will be these sort of aftershocks and after effects of these things, and you know, from the economist perspective, not that I'm an economist, but you know, how the ripple effects go on in this environment will be interesting. All right, I'm rambling now. I'm about halfway through my walk. I'm gonna sign off, and I'll see you all again soon. Oh, one more thing before I go. I did post my album club. Kind of thinking about maybe having a live session with that. So look for in the link of that video, and I'll probably post an update as well, for an online session. I'm thinking maybe doing a Zoom meeting, or you know, my company uses Big Blue Button, so I might consider that as well, to have a way that we can kind of interact together if anybody is interested in that and you're gonna take on. And even if not, I'll hold the meeting and I'll record that in any case. So look for that upcoming, and I'll see you when I see you.